Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is IndyCar Grand Prix qualifying here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The race before the big Indianapolis 250, which is going to be held on Saturday. This race is going to be held tomorrow afternoon, and here for a Sunday event on Napa Fan, something that does not happen too often. We're going to qualify for the IndyCar Grand Prix, the road course here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and this is going to be very pivotal to who wins the race. You got to be starting in that front row, basically, if you want to win this race tomorrow. So this qualifying session is going to have a major effect on the championship, especially if someone like Christian Masters starts up front for the race, or Haas and Alonso. They find themselves pretty close to Jonathan Reigns and in doable range to pass the points leader in the point standings exiting Indy 250 week, which is the end of the season. Matt Dalio, however, only comes into the day's event, I believe, only 7 points behind, so Dalio is still there, but Jonathan Reigns still the points leader in the number 17. There is Cameron Gaju. He started on the pole for this race last year, and it's a 15-minute session here for IndyCar Grand Prix qualifying, and all 25 drivers in this same session, the only session of the day, and whoever's fastest will start on the pole position for tomorrow's IndyCar Grand Prix. There's Stuart Gratton, the winner of this race back in 2015. He knows how to get it done, and it was in that same machine that he's driving right now. Zachary Fitzwater, also one of those championship contenders, even though he's a good, I say maybe 60, 70 points behind, maybe. Could be wrong about that, but even though he's a good ways behind Jonathan Reigns in the point standings, he still has a good chance at winning the championship if he can get a good Indy 250 week. Remember, not in this qualifying session, but for the qualifying in the Indianapolis 250, 42 points on the line for the pole sitter, with 40 being for second, and so on from there. And a lot of points on the line in IndyCar or Indy 250 qualifying, which is going to be on Wednesday. There is your points leader. That is Jonathan Reigns in the number 14. Number 17, excuse me. It's a little late here tonight, and I really haven't had too much time. A little bit of contact there between Chris Skindler and Jonathan Reigns. Reigns was coming off Skindler was coming off the pit lane to get onto the racetrack, and Jonathan Reigns got in the way of him there. I'm not sure if there's any damage on the 17, or if he's going to have to come down the pit lane and get a new race car. Jesse Turner, Matt Dalio, very close to Jonathan Reigns in the point standings, a 3-time winner this season, and still he is not the points leader, and he's behind a guy who has not even won a race this season. That's being Jonathan Reigns in the number 17. You got Eli Bright here in the 7, Nathan Stapleton, Indiana native, in the number 9. Haas and Alonso is up there in the points, has a chance at taking the championship. Cameron Garlington, the defending champion. Garrett Sinor. Davey Johnson also shot his way up there in the points at Kentucky. He got a second-place finish in that race, 40 points towards the championship. He's in the top 10 right now with a chance. You see these guys, they're going off the racetrack a little bit. It is going to be a very interesting start of the race tomorrow, with these guys going double wide into that first corner. And you know how the real IndyCar Grand Prix at least used to be, with those guys never being able to make it through Turn 1. Of course, this year that was not the case. They got through Turn 1 just fine, but these guys here might not have too much luck getting through that first corner in tomorrow's race. Hold on just 1 minute. Okay, we're back, but because we stopped it there, this session could be a little bit shorter. So yeah, my apologies there, but don't worry, everybody's going to get a lap in before the time is done, and don't really have to worry about somebody not getting a lap in. I believe everybody might already be out there on the racetrack anyway, so should not be an issue for any of these guys here in IndyCar Grand Prix qualifying. Anyways, there's John Orton in the number 11, and we got some guys here who I believe have completed a lap. Aaron Walpole is right now the fastest in the number 5. Now it's Cameron Garlington, a really fast lap there by the number 77 of Cameron Garlington, clocking in a 1:26 under a minute 27 seconds. And so far, he's the only driver to do that so far here in qualifying. A very good lap there by Cameron Garlington. The pole sitter will be awarded with 1 point towards the championship, as is with every single race except for the finale race being the Indianapolis 250. Another guy under a minute 27 seconds, Al Lagasse. A very fast lap time there. He won the first Watkins Glen race last Wednesday, and has got some momentum off of that win. Cameron Gaju, Matt Tuck, and Trey Bartow, the top 5. Now Cameron Gaju and Eli Bright have moved their way into the top 5. Eli Bright now up to 2nd. And the number 20 of Al Lagasse falls to 3rd, with Gaju being 4th and Matt Tuck being in the 5th position. But your fastest driver is still the number 77 of Cameron Garlington. And if Garlington can start in the front row, he's going to have a very good chance at winning the IndyCar Grand Prix tomorrow afternoon. And for the defending champion, that is very good news, because I believe this number 77 is up there in the point standings. And I believe he's going to have a chance at the championship as well, if he can, in fact, especially if he gets a win tomorrow afternoon. But focus in on our points leaders. Jonathan Rains is 15th. Matt Dalio is 24th. And if they qualify back in there, they're not really going to get two good finishes in tomorrow's race, which is definitely going to make it interesting for the championship, especially if someone like Garlington, someone up there in the point standings, can get a good run tomorrow. And that's going to make it a very interesting Indianapolis 250 event, especially with qualifying in there. Qualifying is going to have a major effect on the championship and the point standings. And who knows, the champion could be decided in a qualifying session. Of course, that's kind of what's going on here in tomorrow's race. Passing is going to be very seldom, and if you're not on that front row, you're most likely not going to win the race. But I will guarantee this one, in past years of doing this race, that first pit stall has always been a terrible pit stall to be in, because when they'd come off the pit stall for their pit stop, they'd hit that pit road wall. Not going to be the case this time. I figured it out so that these guys are not going to be in that first pit stall, and the pole sitter is going to be in what will actually probably be the third pit stall, because of the way it all works out. But there will be nobody in the first pit stall. You kind of see in there with the wall there, the Siemens sign there. Those drivers in that first pit stall can hit that pit road wall, and it could end their day. And we saw that happen at Road America. And how about Garrett Sinor in the number 83? He just went to the top of the board. A fast lap there, a 1:26.804, and he's going to knock off Cameron Garlington on the top spot. Good old days here with these two long-time running drivers of Cameron Garlington and Garrett Sinor. And they're both going to be running in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series for season number 6. How about Luke Rainey? He just went to 2nd. He was not able to beat Garrett Sinor, but look at that. Less than 100th of a second there between the 83 and the 67. That's how competitive these guys are around this, I believe, 2.6-mile road course. This is a little bit of a different road course than the one the real IndyCar Series goes to. This is the old Formula One version of the road course, but it is the only road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that is available for NR 2003. Like you see the big back straightaway here, and I'm hitting the wrong button, but we get some cool angles here. I'm thinking when we get to the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, we might try to use some secondary cameras, but this is kind of a neat one here. You see Luke Rainey. There's Christian Master. Master with a good chance of winning the championship this season. He has won the Indianapolis 200, which was the 80-lap version of the Indianapolis 250 that we did a couple of years ago. So we know he's strong around the oval course, and if he can get a good starting position for this race, get a lot of points, he might have a chance at the championship. See Nicholas Sanmadio there, Al Lagasse, there's Matt Tuck in the 98, Trey Bartow, Zachary Fitzwater, Ryan Gondilla, but right now the fastest guy in the field, you see Matt Dalio pushing Eli Bright off the racetrack. Bright is right now 4th. Matt Dalio is very deep, or he was at least 1 point very deep in the field. Right now he's 14th, not the greatest of starting positions there, but he is ahead of Jonathan Rains right now, and if they stay that way, the number 33 of Matt Dalio could surpass Jonathan Rains in the point standings, exiting the IndyCar Grand Prix. And it's been a cat-and-mouse game between Dalio and Rains all season long, pretty much since either like the since like the 3rd or 4th race of the season. We had Dalio and Rains up top in the point standings, and it's been those two drivers all season long. But there are still other guys with chances at possibly taking the championship away, and you're definitely going to want to watch for those guys especially in this race on tomorrow, and in qualifying for the Indianapolis 250, and in the Indianapolis 250 itself. Indianapolis 250 being a double points race. If you win it, you get 100 points towards the championship. 20 more points in the second place finisher. So if they're within 10 points, you know, for the points lead, if like somebody in the points lead is only 10 points behind the leader, if they win the race, they are the champion. And that's going to make it very interesting on Saturday morning. And this event here on the road course, helping us set up the very big event that will happen on Saturday. And how about this one? Got a cat and mouse game going on for the pole position. Cameron Garlington just took it back from the number 83 of Garrett Senor. And the 77 of Cameron Garlington, he fell back to third fastest. Luke Rainey's now down the third place. And Garlington, a 1:26.744. He is ready to grab the pole position and win tomorrow's race. But Garrett Senor in the number 83 might have a chance on that outside lane. It's just going to be a very interesting first lap, and mainly that's going to determine the race tomorrow. But pit stops could play into who wins. It is possible, but it's going to be a very interesting one tomorrow afternoon, especially on the first lap through that first corner. Who's going to get that advantage through the first corner? Will we have a crash in the first corner? We've had that happen before. Remember, there are no cautions on the road courses here in any series I do on Napa Fan. And if they crash, they crash. We keep on racing. It's going to be very interesting for the IndyCar Grand Prix. And then once the IndyCar Grand Prix is done, we're going to be opening up the oval course to the competitors in all three series. And these guys are going to have IndyCar or Indy 250 qualifying on Wednesday. They're going to have their second practice session with the Indianapolis 250 only drivers on Tuesday. Thursday, it's going to be Freedom 50 qualifying along with the USF 2000 finale. The Freedom 50 and the Carb Day for the IndyCar drivers is going to be on Friday. And then Saturday morning, it's the big race, the Indianapolis 250, right here on Napa Fan at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Garrett Senor trying all he can to beat Cameron Garlington here, but I don't believe it's going to happen. Garlington beating him back in that number 77, and Cameron Garlington, the defending champion of the Haas IndyCar Series, might very well get a win tomorrow for starting on the pole position. It's 2 minutes left here in this session, and Garlington is still the fastest. Still a little bit of time left. Plenty of time for somebody else to get a faster lap than Garlington. You see the number 83 here of Garrett Senor right now second. He's not really in championship contention, but he'd still like to end the season on a high note heading into the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, which begins in 8 days. Memorial Day, we're going to have the Meliolo Smooth Fest. It's definitely going to be a big thing. Definitely looking forward to it. And it does appear that somebody just had a brain fart. I don't know who that is, but they ran right into the barrier on the pit lane, and I cannot tell if they are alive anymore. Anyways, I do not know who in the world that could have been. Might have been Matt Dalio. I think that's Dalio on the pit lane back in there. Very interesting what just happened there. Anyways, Cameron Garlington still up top with less than a minute remaining. Yeah, actually, that might have been Alonso in the 27. Yeah, that might have been Hergelarv and Alonso. Either Alonso or Noah Cars. Both of these guys on the pit lane not doing anything right now. Could have been either of those Andretti Autosport machines. But anyways, if they're going to stay the way they're currently running, Matt Dalio, who is behind Jonathan Rains in the point standings, will start 18th. And Jonathan Rains, a very poor qualifying effort for him, 23rd out of 25 drivers. And that is not good at all for our points leader here in the Haas IndyCar Series. If he finishes that deep in the race, Matt Dalio might be the points leader heading into the final race of the season. But there is your fastest guy, Cameron Garlington. The clock is about to finish up here. There's going to be a little bit of extra time. And to be exact, it is going to be Actually, the clock is not resetting. So that might actually be it here. They are still racing out here on the racetrack. We'll see if anybody can get a good lap in here. Got Ryan Gondillo. He is currently 19th. A rather slow effort for him in the Penske number 3. But he's going to complete this lap here. And that might be it. See Darlington and Aaron Walpole coming back out into the racetrack, and he did! Ryan Gondillo just went to the top of the board with that lap. Unbelievable! What a lap by Ryan Gondillo right at the end of the session as well to steal the pole away from Cameron Gurlington. Now this thing is not over yet, but Ryan Gondillo, a 1:26.663. He's going to grab the pole for the IndyCar Grand Prix, which will be run tomorrow afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right at the end of the session. And Ryan Gondillo, his first pole of the season, I do believe. It's going to come in the race where starting up front means a lot. It's going to be Ryan Gondillo, Cameron Garlington on the front row. And Ryan Gondillo has a great chance of winning his first career race here on Napa Fan, because he's going to be right in the ideal position to win it tomorrow afternoon in that number 3. How about that? Right at the end of the session, he beats out Cameron Garlington, the defending champion of the series, to start on the pole for the IndyCar Grand Prix. Now, bigger story here, Matt Dallio, Jonathan Raines both deep in the field, and if they finish there, they are not going to get good points days, which means that those guys not too far behind them might be able to close in heading into the Indianapolis 250, and a lot of points on the line in that race. It's going to be a very interesting Indianapolis 250, and it's going to be a very interesting IndyCar Grand Prix tomorrow with the rookie driver of Ryan Gondillo starting on the pole position. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching, and congratulations to Ryan Gondillo for winning the pole here for the IndyCar Grand Prix. And like I said countless times in the video, the race is going to be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching, and Indy 250 week continues tomorrow with the USF 2000 race from the Indianapolis Road Course and the IndyCar Grand Prix in the Haas IndyCar Series. Thank you guys for watching once again, and I will see you guys later.